Hey, this is Mike, and welcome to another Facebook Live with Mike, where I invite you to take a halftime break, and we're going to dive into some new Instagram tools today that are helpful for business. So, why do you take this kind of halftime break? Because things on the web change quickly, particularly in social media, they change quickly, and it's important to stay up to date, to stay in the know on what's happening so that you can continue to use the same tools, but you can use them in the new and best ways that are important for gaining the most traction out of them. So if you're doing the same old thing with social media, you're going to be out of date quickly, and you're not going to be using it effectively. So this is the goal of taking a little halftime break live with Mike here is to take a look at something that's happening in the digital world, on the web, on social media, understand it, and then think about how you can apply that to your business. So today I want to talk about two new tools that they're kind of a tandem package, but they're technically two different tools that Instagram just is in the process of rolling out, and they announced it last week. And that is Instagram archiving for stories and Instagram highlighting for stories. So basically, coming back to some of the basics there, I've been bullish on Instagram for this past year in terms of its developments as a business marketing tool. Instagram is owned by Facebook, and in the past year they came out with a number of new tools. First, there was Stories, which is that camera up in the top left of your Instagram app when you're in there on a mobile device, and you can do up to 15-second videos and add images. A lot of customizations there. You can do Facebook or Instagram Live with Stories, and that all lasts 24 hours and then it's gone. So it was a little bit of a Snapchat-esque feature, and when we first talked about it, we talked about it from the standpoint of giving your community, your audience, a little bit more behind-the-scenes view, or telling stories in that little segments there, or even offering something to them that's a special giveaway that is only going to be valid for 24 hours because it's going to go away then. So that's what we had with Instagram Stories. It was another way for Instagram to gain traction in the newsfeed. They added some more tools to that. For instance, the ability to tag users, to implement hashtags within a story on a photo or on the video. And now they've had another enhancement, and this one is really huge. I haven't seen it talked about a tremendous amount from a business standpoint, other than that it's released. And I think this one you need to know about because it's going to be big for a long time to come. And that is now automatically now when you get this feature, and I was given an alert in my Instagram when I updated the app, and then I went to Stories and I put one up there. It gave me an alert after I had posted the story that says Instagram is now archiving my stories for me. So they still last 24 hours to the public out there, but they are available in an archive for me. And then that relates to the second component, which is the story highlights. Okay, so now when you go over to Instagram, you have the opportunity to create highlights from old stories that had expired and their 24-hour time period is gone. And so it's an opportunity to create those type of features. Now, this is going to be a little tough. It's always tough to see there. Not too bad. A little glare on the camera. But it's right in the middle of my screen. So I'm on my profile, and then in the middle there, there's a plus, and then I have two highlights with a number of stories in them. So what happens is when I click on new, or I can click on one of the other ones and add to it over the course of time. But think of this as a little bit of a album, so to speak, of compiled stories that you had previously put up there. So from a business standpoint, a business may have one that is events. Let's just say that they want to capture different events that they've hosted. Maybe that's big for their event. Let's say they're a caterer and they want to showcase. So now, because in the Instagram feed, you post something and people might see it in the feed and then it's going to be gone. Yes, it's resident in your profile afterwards, but somebody has to come over there, somebody has to scroll down to these. The story is given precedence in your profile, and you could direct attention to it. Come on over to my story, take a look at this. But the story highlight is a compilation. So let's say you do stories. I'll just do it by months so that we can break it down easily. You had a snippet of stories that were in June, snippet of stories that were in August, snippet of stories that were in December, for specific events that were important in your business. Now you want to create a highlight of those, so you can go in to this archive feature, pull out different ones from previously posted stories that have expired, and basically renew them permanently by adding them to a highlight, which you can name and which resides in your profile. So it's basically like an album of story snippets that you get to choose from, that you get to showcase on your Instagram profile. So for businesses, it gives you the ability to have more material resident for people when they come and check you out, and businesses need to find ways to begin using this. It could be a way to showcase different products, so if you've done stories on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday of 3 different products, now you can create and highlight those. Before, you didn't really have any way to do this in Instagram feed. Anything that was posted just gets pushed down further down. But these will be there. You can add to them over time. So once you create a highlight, it's there, and you can change the cover image of that, and you can add to that over the course of time. So, for example, I was experimenting with this, and this isn't necessarily business related, but I wanted to experiment with it, so I tried it over this past weekend when I was in New York City, and so I started having stories from when I got there Friday night through Saturday through Sunday, and obviously those would have expired and been gone, but now I can create a highlight, New York City, and put those stories that had previously expired into this, and I have like a little New York City album on my profile. So businesses, what could you do with this? You have multiple ways that you can think about this and use this. That you could highlight products, as I mentioned before. You could highlight services. You could highlight interviews or events or demos of products, behind the scenes types things, and it'll be a way to showcase your business on Instagram, and all using stories. So I think that it's going to increase the use of stories. If you haven't been using stories before for your business, it's time to begin experimenting with that. And maybe you didn't use it because it's like, hey, this is expiring in 24 hours. Now, yes, in the story it's expiring, but in the highlights it's remaining. And again, to access, you're going to have to update your app to make sure you get these. And I know it's rolling out, so not everybody has them right now, so just be aware of that. But I'm on my profile, so it's your normal profile up there that shows you your posts, your followers, your following, and then it's below that, and there's a plus, and then I have 2 highlights that I've created there, and you will have this soon if you don't, and I think it's going to be a powerful business tool. Think about, categories. If you're a business that sells things online, e-commerce, you could create different categories of items that you sell, and if you're putting those stories up about different products where you're explaining it, you can put that product within this category highlight, and now you're suddenly creating albums, categories on your Instagram feed of different things that you have to offer. Okay, so the sky's the limit. It's up to you to be creative. I've just given you a number of ideas there, and I think this is a huge tool for Instagram. I think it's something that businesses need to experiment with, and I wanted you to be aware of that. I want you to begin taking a look at that. What we're seeing is that just a trend of evolution of the social media network, and Instagram is on a key evolution to be more business friendly and to offer more tools. We need to begin experimenting with those because Instagram is important, because more people are spending significant amounts of time on it. They will only spend more time now, and its demographic continues to broaden. Okay, no longer is it just teens and college age, but it's really expanded up in that 30s and 40s big time, and it's even cranking a little bit higher than that, which means that that it's Facebook-esque, owned by the parent, the mother is Facebook, but we're seeing that demographic expand. So you can reach your demographic on Instagram, and again, we can run ads on Instagram. We can run ads from Facebook targeting onto Instagram. So Instagram is making headways. This is important. Archiving, it's there for you. No one else can see them. And highlights is where you can pull from your archives to create these archives. Think of them as albums. Think of them as categories. Think of them as ways to have more information on your profile about who you are, what you do, what your business is, key services, products, where you're attending, all those kind of things. Be creative. This is a way where you set yourself apart by explaining your differentiators, who you are, that would make someone want to know you, like you, trust you, and do business with you ultimately. Okay? So that's what I wanted to cover today, and I did that in less than 15 minutes. So that's my goal, is always to keep a quick halftime break under that time period. So now the point is for you, what do you need to do? Go update your app, go experiment with this, write down 5 things that you heard me say today that your business might be able to use the highlights feature for, and get that with your marketing team. Maybe that's you, so think about experimenting with this. Get out there, try something today. That's how we need to do it with social media. We have to experiment, we have to listen, we have to learn, we have to stay up to date, we have to try. All right, this is Mike with the Halftime Mike, Live with Mike update for this week. Till next week, take care.